been some polling that I've done in Louisiana and in Florida, and the Florida poll I did just concluded this weekend. It shows Donald Trump with the lead, a 5-point lead to be precise. And what it also shows, which I find kind of interesting, I tested the U.S. Senate race in that poll as well, because Marco Rubio, after withdrawing from his presidential run, decided to run for his Senate seat. And I show in the poll, not only does Donald Trump have a lead, but Marco Rubio has weak reelect numbers, and I think he is fairly vulnerable with regards to his November reelection. So in other words, it's not like you're having a coattails kind of race.
Okay. So when was that poll, by the way?
Conducted over the weekend.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but it was over the weekend. And the way it was conducted was electronically, am I correct?
Yes, all automated.
Okay, fine. So you've done a similar poll for the state of Florida recently?
The Florida one was this weekend. The one in Louisiana was a couple of months ago.
Okay, so the one in Florida, I mean, do you have a before and then compare it to this weekend?
Not yet, but that is the kind of state where I intend to go back out there at some point in the future before November so that I can have that before and after comparison.
Sure, sure. So what does the poll tell you? I mean, obviously, number one, Trump is leading by how many?
5 points. It's a 47 to 42% lead over Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
What I'm finding in this Florida poll is that everybody has known for some time that Florida is a swing state, number one, but what this poll is showing is that both parties can count on their respective bases, as in Hillary Clinton has the black vote and the white Democratic vote securely in her corner. Despite everything you hear about Republican defections, if you're talking about rank and file registered Republicans, they are solidly in Donald Trump's corner. Also, too, what helps Donald Trump right now is that he has a decent lead amongst independents. Now, one of the things about this poll that was, I will tell you, was fairly controversial is that the poll shows that Donald Trump has a lead amongst Hispanics. Now, one of the things that's important to appreciate about the Hispanic vote is the Florida Hispanic vote is substantially different than the Hispanic vote, say, in California or Illinois or New York, because you have a large contingent of those who came through after the communist revolution in Cuba. You've also recently had some Hispanics who've escaped the increasingly socialist government of Venezuela. So these are Hispanic voters who have not necessarily come across the stereotypical border, as is the case in other states. These are people who have fled communism, and so they have a more Republican outlook in Hispanic populations elsewhere. Now, what's interesting about the Hispanic vote, as if that weren't complex enough, the Hispanic vote in Florida used to be monolithically Republican, starting with Ronald Reagan and going forward until George W. Bush. And, of course, Jeb Bush is from Miami. He married, his wife is a Mexican. So the Bushes have strong connections with the Hispanic vote. However, the old Hispanic affection for Republicans in Florida has begun to wane over the years as a new generation of Cubans being brought up is less attached to the old anti-communist policies of their parents. And so they are truly the swing vote in Florida. What my poll shows, however, is that right now Hispanic Republicans, who are still a fairly substantial chunk of the Hispanic electorate in Florida, are solidly behind Donald Trump. I would certainly not say that this is a race that either side can rest on their laurels, however, because you're talking about a presidential election. It's unlike any I've ever seen, where Donald Trump has actually managed to make it very competitive despite his numerous gaffes and despite the fact that he has far less resources to compete than Hillary Clinton does. In other words, he's running less ads. He's coming late to the ground game. He's not as organizationally ready as Hillary Clinton has been.